On the next episode of On a Couch Talking Sports, it's remote versus phone.
Who will win?
Who will win? Newsflash: probably the phone, probably the remote.
The remote. Because see, look at this. The phone is so good. This phone is so futuristic. It can. See, it can
It's
take
turning into.
it can take the video before we even make the video. Isn't that awesome? Look, isn't that revolutionary, Robbie? See? Hi.
Gives new meaning to the term picture-in-picture. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie. This is Kyle. Kyle, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you too. I'm doing okay. I've been worse, but I've been better as well. So
it's okay. You know, you're going through some tough times in certain aspects, but
yeah.
you know, for every door there's a silver lining. I didn't think I said that right, but
okay.
Whatever.
I get what you mean, though. Thank you.
It'll get better.
Thank
it's
you.
Okay. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Long story.
And by the way, it is freezing cold outside right now. You want to talk about blah? It is literally like 20 degrees outside. It feels even colder. It's pretty you could
bad.
Literally like put a glass of water outside and it would turn into ice in like 10 minutes.
Like you could literally start walking and your feet would stick to the ground, kind of like in Terminator when the Terminator threw the nitro. You know that scene. I'm not going to get into it, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah. But speaking of cold weather, that is sort of our theme in a sense for tonight's episode, because if you've watched us before, you'll know that Kyle and I both have various experiences in the sport of football, both playing and watching. Kyle was a 4-year football player at Wellesley High School, while I played 2 years of football in 8th grade and 9th grade before giving it up to watch safely from the side.
That's a fair decision.
And obviously, in football, especially football played this time of year, you're bound to play in some cold weather, some snow, ice, some negative temperatures, just the whole sort of shebang of cold weather occurrences. And what we wanted to talk about is, since we both have the experience of both playing and watching these cold weather games, we wanted to sort of talk about some of the similarities and differences between playing football and watching football in the cold weather. And so, Kyle, I kind of want to start with you on this, because obviously, again, you have more playing experience in football than I do. So just talk to you from your perspective. Let's start with playing football in the cold weather. Just sort of talk about your experience, because obviously, you know, where we are, you know, the end of the high school season usually comes around mid to late November, where it's like I said, starting to get pretty cold. There may be some snow on the ground. So just talk about some of your experiences playing in cold weather and what it was like for you.
I will say it was definitely interesting. I mean, we've definitely say our coldest. Yeah, November was definitely obviously the colder of the months we played. It's kind of interesting. Football, you really get to see that change. You go from like the 80s, 90s in August, and you go all the way through November into like the low 20s, teens even sometimes.
It's true.
So
that's a good point. I didn't even think it. When you start, it's like 100 degrees, and then when you end, it's like 30.
Yeah, you really don't get. I feel like in a lot of other sports, you really don't get to experience that, and it really makes the season interesting. And really, that's really what brings it back to when I remember when Coach Tracy was talking about adversity. You know, you dealt with cold.
By the way, for the record, Coach Tracy was our high school.
He was our head coach. Yeah, at the time he was our head coach, and Yeah, so it was really interesting. The cold, it really wasn't bad. Especially if it was like a dry kind of cold. It really like it kind of gave you more of a reason to run. I feel like it really gave you more of a reason to kind of push yourself, during the games and practice and everything. And
And the pads probably had to help. I know for me,
well, to an extent,
being in the pad, pads sort of warmed it up a little.
they
Pads in the
did.
helmet warmed it up a little bit.
They did.
But you're right, the running and all that stuff definitely helps to
Yeah.
keep your body warm in those situations.
Oh yeah, that was by far the best. The only thing is, when you wore the pad, you really had to make sure you wore some. Like I remember throughout the years I played football, I really tried to do better in the cold, like kind of by wearing like
Long
I highly
sleeves
recommend
underneath.
Under Armour or
Yeah.
anything like in long pants if you can get something like that under those pads because it's. I mean, yeah, it's the pads will only warm you up to an extent. So, but no, it was interesting. Definitely doable. But yeah, sometimes, especially when you stay on the sidelines during the games, ooh, that was painful. I remember there'd be times I'd be kind of like hopping up and down, while the team was going,
Yeah.
go team, just like
It's trying to stay half cheering, half trying to stay warm.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, I remember, and this is a good segue into the next point. Is I remember when I played freshman year, one of our like end of season games. It actually had snowed. Like it was like the second to last game of the season or something like that. It actually snowed, and so there was snow on the field during the game, and so we actually had to wear like gloves and stuff like that. So we were putting our hand in the bare hands in the cold snow. And if I remember correctly, our sophomore year Thanksgiving game, it actually snowed a little. I don't know if you remember that at all, but like there was snow on the ground for that as well. So
sophomore year, yeah, that's right. It was like a snowy and sunny day all together.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
But yeah, just talk about sort of playing in the snow. It's an interesting. Like you gotta be very you gotta be very careful to avoid the slick spots when you're playing in those types of conditions.
Yeah, it's so different. It really depends on. I mean, again, like when you're walking outside, it really depends on the type of snow. 'Cause sometimes you'll get snow where it does. If it's like a colder, drier type of snow, and it's more like the harder snow that falls on the ground. It's not that bad. You still have to watch where you run, obviously, but it really is bad when you have when it's more like the kind of the slushier type of snow, especially when you have like a really cold day and then you have a slightly warmer day the next day even, and when the snow starts to melt, that can really, really mess up the playing experience.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, and then when it gets icy too, it's like the snow and ice on top of it.
Ooh.
It's like, or underneath it, it's like, watch out.
Yeah.
Ice, the field can become a skating rink very, very quickly.
Right? Especially
on the old grass field at the high school.
Oh,
I mean, now it's turf, so it might be a little bit better off. But like on the old grass field, that thing could be like it could become a skating rink very, very quickly.
Yeah, because that's what happens when you tear up the ground. When you reveal all the mud under the grass, then you have all that. Oh man, it's just
mud bowl
such a pain.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
After it all melts, then it becomes mud bowl. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I think the coldest game I experienced was probably that game freshman year when there was like snow on the ground and like I said, just had we had to like wear gloves and stuff like that in order to in order to avoid having to put our hands like right on the what's it called, right on the snow there. It was not fun.
No,
and we lost that day too, which kind of stunk as well.
Yeah. It's tough. It's a big adjustment for everyone.
Yeah, for both teams, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, anytime you're in the cold or the snow, it sort of adds a factor to the game.
Yeah.
But. That's the way it is. It is what it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's like that football game. So I actually ended up watching a little football this past weekend. Fantasy. When you have fantasy, you kind of it really helps. But I was watching one of the games. What team? I can't remember all the teams. But what's the team Vinatieri's on right now?
Indianapolis.
Oh, he's in Indianapolis. It was like the
Indianapolis and Buffalo. It was in the snow. Yeah.
That game was nuts. I mean, that was a perfect example of wow. Like they really had to. I mean, I just remember watching the game, and I remember we didn't have a whole lot of like super crazy snow days when we played football, but it just looked so crazy.
And there was a picture I saw of like one family literally just sitting there buried in the snow.
Yeah.
Like it's like you gotta be brave and like committed to like go and sit out there in basically some kind of blizzard-like conditions almost to watch a football game. Like that takes some loyalty right there to.
Yeah, like you even have to use up. I remember at one point the teams had to use up their timeout because they had to clear the snow so they can get the kick through.
I know, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot for teams to kind of like to really prepare themselves and to get ready and to kind of work around and through. So
yeah, and that's sort of a perfect segue into the next part of our conversation, which is watching games in the cold, because you and I have obviously. Had a lot of experience watching games as well in the cold, high school football, professionally, and I think I will say this: the one good thing about playing, about not playing, about watching in a sense, is you're a lot freer in how you can dress, so you can definitely. Wear a lot more layers than if you're like playing football. You're a bit limited, I feel like, in terms of what you can
wear. Under dress code.
Right, but if you're watching the game, then you could like put on all that, the long underwear, like 5 shirts and jackets and everything. And I know Kyle definitely, and Kyle and I both have been to. Well, I've been to BC and Patriots, but I know you've been to some Patriots games where it's been, and you're actually going to a couple Patriots games where it could be a bit chilly coming up here. So, talk to us about just your experience with that, or just watching games in cold in general.
So I've been to a couple in like the cold rain. So this is actually where I really wanted to kind of go into, because this year I am gonna be I am planning on going to the Christmas Eve and the New Year's Eve game. Sorry. So which
for the Patriots?
For the Patriots, yeah. So I'll be at Gillette. They'll both be at both days will be at Gillette, obviously.
No, Kyle's traveling to.
I could, but I don't feel like doing it. But no. So last year actually was the first time I went to a Patriots game in a while. So I went to the Christmas Eve one last year, and my God, that one was a trip. That whole game was crazy because
it was raining that game. It wasn't. Yeah.
Like when we got there to tailgate, so I went there with my family, and it was pouring, and it was probably in the 20s maybe. It was cold. It was.
Well, it probably was more in like the 30s or 40s if it was raining.
Oh, probably. Actually, no, that's a good point. Yeah,
if it was in the 20s, it probably would have been a different form of precipitation.
Actually, that's a good point, yeah. It just felt like it was that cold, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was nuts. And I remember that game, we had like tents and everything, so we kind of had to... we found ways around it. We really put on a lot of layers, but... It was a little tough, especially when all the hats and mittens got wet and everything, and my gloves I was wearing weren't really waterproof, so that was a little bit of a problem. But what can you do?
Learning experience.
Exactly. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I've been similar. I've been to I went to one Patriots game on like Christmas Eve, and it was like in the 20s and. Was really cold and just had to bring out all the layers. And then I've also been to, like I said, a couple of BC games, like in late November, early December, where it's been like pretty cold. I remember one in particular was like 20 degrees or something like that. And it was just, again, you just have to really bundle up. And I also feel like, for me, the last few years I've had the privilege of announcing the Thanksgiving game, football game for Wellesley and Needham. So, I usually have to get there somewhat on the early side, to help set up and stuff like that. And
yeah, that makes sense.
And some of those Thanksgiving mornings, I mean, it is pretty cold. I mean, I know like even this year it was only like 32, 33, maybe like 35 degrees when I got there, and so I was dressed, in my, again, long underwear, multiple layers, like
It's
gloves,
chilly.
hat, everything. So I feel like I said, as a fan, you know, it can be tough, obviously, but if you dress appropriately and really, plan ahead, you can make it through. Some of these fans who like in 20-degree weather have their shirts off and like stuff like that. I'm like, you deserve everything. You deserve everything you get at that point.
I don't know
Like,
how they do
I have
it.
no sympathy for you if you get like frostbite, hypothermia, like whatever. Like you earned that plight by making those types of decisions.
Or maybe they're just super. I don't know. I don't know how you do it.
No, seriously, but yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, watching in the cold and snow, it can be kind of a cool experience at times. I mean, I know there's
no
been
pun
some
intended.
yeah, thank you. I
Yeah,
know
you're
there's
good.
been some Patriots games where like there's been like snow on the ground in the seats, and like the fans will be like throwing snow up in the air when the team scores and stuff like that. And that's actually kind of a cool scene to watch. Not gonna lie, but
Yeah, that's true. It brings a little character,
I will admit that I prefer to go to games when it's a bit warmer than
Yeah, like
I'm
in the
not
fall.
going out of my way to go to like December or January Patriots games. Let's put it that way.
No, I don't blame you.
I'll
It's
watch
understandable.
I'll watch from my warm couch rather than um rather than braving the elements
Yeah.
if I could avoid it.
That's why honestly, just like I feel like just September when you watch it in September, October, that's the best time because it's the best
Yeah.
weather, for
Yeah,
that.
it's still like seven a lot of times like 70s, maybe 80s. It's
Yeah.
like that's good football weather. Especially if it's on a nice sunny day. Like
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
you don't have to worry about like dressing. Wearing too many layers or something like that. Like I'd rather see. The thing with me is I'd rather go to a game where it's too warm because I can just drink plenty of water and stuff like
Oh
that
yeah, it's a good point.
than go to a game where it's too cold because I feel
Mm.
like it's a lot easier to handle a game in the warmth than in the cold
Yeah,
sometimes.
I agree. As a player, I would say it's I I'm really not a fan of of playing in 80-degree weather because
Well, again, it comes down to you're wearing all those pads and stuff, which
exactly.
makes it like 10 degrees
Oh, it's the
warmer.
worst, especially in August when you have to do preseason, beginning of September.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Like I can't stand it, and I remember every year I played football, I couldn't wait for August and September to end. I'd be like waiting for October. I'd be like, yeah,
As
I want to
Green
play
Day,
that
as
weather.
as Green Day would say, "Wake me up when September ends."
Yep, there you go.
First Green Day reference on
There
the
you go.
show.
Love it, bam.
Boom.
But yeah, no, honestly, playing weather definitely the best. I would say is October.
Yeah.
Like, just yeah,
or like late September. Late September.
Yeah,
Late September, early
no.
mid October is
Exactly.
probably where you get the best, most ideal conditions
Oh, yeah.
for playing or watching football.
Yeah, like 60, 50 degrees. That's
Not bad.
perfect. Yeah.
You can't do much better than that. All right, you got anything else?
No, that's about it on my end. How about you?
All right, no, I think we've covered. I think we've covered all the bases.
Yeah.
There. So, although we're talking about football, not baseball. But anyway, so I want to move on to the end portion of our episode. As always, our favorite portion of the episode, our monologues. Kyle, you got anything for us this week?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate Robbie. He completely defeated me this week in fantasy football, so I wanted to give Robbie a nice special congratulations. It was a great game.
Well, thank you, and I do have to say that despite, while I appreciate you, complimenting me on my victory, I do have to return the compliment because this guy actually made the playoffs in our league, finishing in third place, whereas I, in my infinite wisdom, managed to finish 11th and missed the playoffs completely. So I'm just going to go cry in this corner now.
That's okay. I did,
but I did beat Kyle. I ended the season on a high note by beating Kyle. So it was a good battle. It was a good battle.
That was good, man.
Congratulations.
That was good.
And best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank
I hope I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
All right. So for my monologue, I just want to, as you can see, I'm wearing my my Boston College shirt. Although this was unintentional, but I want to throw a shout out to the BC men's basketball team, who I actually was in attendance to see this past Saturday defeat the number one team in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. That's right, BC beat undefeated at number one Duke on Saturday afternoon.
Chased down home. The Devils.
Yeah, they were running with the Devils and they outran the Devils. And I just want to say, that game was probably one of the most epic basketball games I think I've ever seen. Just down to the wire, I literally almost had a heart attack. It was such an intense game, and again, BC. There were a couple times where Duke made a run, and BC could sort of folded and sort of choked it away during the stretch, but they held their own and got the job done, and it was, like I said, just really exciting to see, and all the fans rushed the court afterwards, which was really cool to see. But yeah, I just want to say good job, Eagles, and glad I was able to be in attendance for it. And Duke fans, I'm sorry. No, I'm not really sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
It's a good upset. A good upset victory, right?
Yeah. One of the biggest wins in recent memory for BC. So
that's good.
Like I said, glad I was able to be a part of it. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. Thank you as always for joining us, everybody. For Kyle, I'm Robbie, signing off here from the couch. We will see you next time. Goodbye.